Okay, so the IELTS questions for January 2019 to the end of April 2019, talking about the question where you live. Where you live. Okay, so let's talk about where you live. What kind of accommodation do you live in? Do you prefer living in a house or a flat? Are the facilities near your place good? Great, moving on to work or study. So, are you a student or do you work? Do you work or are you a student? What type of work do you do? Do you like your job? Do you miss being a student? Are you looking forward to working? Okay, let's move on to the subject of film or movie stars. Who is your favourite film star? Are there many international film stars who are famous in your country? Have you ever met a celebrity in real life? Okay, so moving on to the subject of handwriting. Handwriting. Do you often write with a pen? Is your handwriting easy to read? What's the difference between writing with a pen and typing on a computer? What can you tell about someone's personality from his or her writing? Great, okay, so let's move on to the fifth one, which is email. Email. Do you think it's important to reply to emails quickly? How often do you write emails? Do you prefer to write emails or speak on the phone? What kinds of emails make you happy? When did you last receive an email that made you happy? Okay, so moving on to 6 and talking about restaurants. Restaurants. What kinds of restaurant do you like to go to? Do you often go to a restaurant to celebrate? Do you prefer to go to restaurants with friends or do you like to go alone? Would you like to open up your own restaurant? Number 7, talking about the sky. Do you like looking into the sky? Do you prefer to look at the sky in the daytime or at night? Did you learn anything about stars or planets at school? Yeah. Do you think it's harder for us to see the stars at night these days? Goody good. Moving on to number 8, talking about crowded places. What kinds of places are often crowded? When was the last time you were in a crowded place? How do you feel when you are in a crowded place? Goody good. Moving on to number 9, talking about driving. Do you know how to drive? Do you think it's necessary to learn to drive? Do you think it's important to get a driver's license? Do you think it's important to drive well? Good. Okay, moving on to number 10, talking about pets and animals. What kinds of animals do people keep as pets? Do you think cities are suitable places for keeping a pet? Should we teach children to protect animals? If you have children in the future, will you allow them to raise a pet? Good. Okay, let's move on to number 11, talking about sleeping. How much sleep do you think is good for your health? Do you like to take naps at noon? Do you like to read before bed? How have your sleeping habits changed over time? Okay, number 12, public holidays. Which is your favourite public holiday? How many public holidays do you have in your country? What do you usually do while you are on public holiday? Do you think people need more public holidays? Great. So moving on to 13, talking about sharing. Have you shared anything with others recently? What kinds of things are not suitable for sharing? Have you ever shared your food with someone else? Did your parents teach you to share with others? Great, so that's number 13. Moving on to 14, talking about patience. Is being patient very important? Are you a patient person? Great. Okay, the last one then, tea or coffee. In your country, what do people prefer, tea or coffee? When did you last drink tea or coffee? Do you drink coffee or tea more now than when you were younger? Great.